Hi everyone, so this is my digital bookmaking project that I created. This specific book is an online book about climate change, how to go about it, what we can do to help. Students will do research, and the standards that this book addresses, or this project addresses, are science and ELA standards, and those are 3-5- ETS 1-2, generate and compare multiple possible solutions to a problem based on how well each is likely to meet the criteria and constraints of the problem. So this standard is addressed because we are talking about the problem of climate change and pollution, and students are brainstorming and doing research on ways that they can help solve this problem. I know one individual student can't take on the whole problem that is climate change, but they can find ways amongst themselves where they can help make a difference, and they are trying the best that they can to find solutions to this problem. The next standard that I am addressing is NJSLSA.W6. That is use technology, including the internet, to produce and publish writing and to interact and collaborate with others. So obviously students are using technology in this project. They will be online creating a digital book. They will also be collaborating. They will be sharing their book with one another and with the teacher as well. And they will also be publishing this work online for others to see. So if their classmates or I want to go back and look at it, it will be online. And the last standard that I'm addressing is NJSLSA.W5, develop and strengthen writing as needed by planning, revising, editing, rewriting, or trying a new approach. So students will be practicing a lot of writing. This project will take course over a few classes, possibly even more than a week-long length of classes. They will be planning using graphic organizers so that they have all their information sorted out. They know where they're putting what. They are revising. They will be going back and looking at their books and seeing what they can improve on in terms of grammar, punctuation, sentence structure. If they have information, maybe like text boxes or fun facts, an index, a glossary, all those different things. They're constantly editing, revising, rewriting if something doesn't sound right. If there's a mistake, they want to make sure that they're doing that. Or they could try a new approach, figure out their own strategy to kind of develop this book as they go along. So what exactly is this project? Like I said, it's a digital bookmaking project, so it is students creating an online book about climate change. It can include such things as research, interviews, vocab, opinions. I mentioned an index, a glossary, pictures, drawings, charts, anything for data. They could even include recordings of themselves speaking pages of the book, so like an audiobook type of thing they can include here. And this is something that students will share with one another. So this is a model of the book that I have on screen. Again, it's called Defeating Climate Change, One Small Step at a Time, written by me in the bottom. And then it just says what is climate change, and then I provide a definition. This is where students will start their research. I explain the issue, climate change is hurting our environment and humans. And then students were to include a couple facts throughout their book. So I include facts about the United States and global warming. And I also introduced the climate clock, which is just a clock that ticks down years and days in relevance to how long until a catastrophic event will occur on Earth in terms of global warming. So that shows that a change needs to be made, or else something irreversible will occur. So on the next page, my personal opinion and experience. So I wanted students to make this informative as well as personal. I wanted them to have a connection to the book, because as we all know, students perform a lot better when they are connected. So I just spoke about my own personal opinion and experience on that page. On the next page, I wrote about what I have done in the past to help. So students were to reflect on ways, because everyone has done something, right? Like recycling in school, maybe walking instead of taking a car. I just want students to look at what they have done so far, if they've done a lot, if they've done minimal, and reflect on if it worked or not, if they are still practicing those ways to help. And then I wanted them to brainstorm and implement a new way that they could help and reflect on if that worked. So on the first page, I have what I've done in the past to help, and on the second page, I have what I will do next to help. And I encourage students to try to find new ways to help, ways that they haven't tried before. And then obviously they can include pictures, whatever graphics they want throughout the book. And then I wanted them to reflect on if their solutions worked. So that was this next page. And just write a little about that. If it didn't work, then they could also just write ways to improve, what they liked, what they didn't like, what worked well, what didn't work well. And then the next page was what people can do to help. So this included research as well. They had to look up a couple different ways that others can help, not just opinion-based, but actual facts. So that is this page. And then a vocab page, I wanted them to have, I think it was 3 vocab terms that they could define in their book, just to make it look all that better. I think a vocab or a glossary or an index just enhances the book experience, so they were to include that. And then just a works cited page so I could see where they got their work from. And that is it for the model. This is it. So why I created the project this way, I designed the project this way because climate change is something that is affecting all of us. And I genuinely believe that everyone could do something to make a change. So the creation of a book makes it personal, but also informative. So whether or not students have experienced it, I'm sure they know someone, or it's in the news, like Greta Thunberg. I know almost everyone knows who she is, right? She's advocating to help reduce pollution and to help the climate change crisis. So students could maybe include something about her in here. But there's something, like, even making it personal, they saw her on TV and they thought, oh my goodness, I had no idea the climate was this bad. Something as little as that, I wanted them to include a connection to, because it just enhances the overall experience for the student. So students will create all different books based on their different abilities also. So students who need a challenge can make longer, more informative books. They can maybe include some interviews, maybe include a page on someone who inspires them, who is changing how we think about climate change. And then students who are maybe struggling can make a shorter, more to the point book, and they can include different elements to help them create this book, such as the audio. Maybe they don't type the best or write the best, so they can have an audio book, or even a picture book, a graphic novel type thing, because I know this site allows you to, this is the book format, but I know there's a comic or a graphic format that students can use. So that would be great. They can include pictures, videos, graphs, charts, drawings, whatever would help them just create this book and not have an awful time doing it or just be constantly struggling. We want to help them, right? So, and there are different things that each student can use that will help their individual learning needs. So like I said earlier, any auditory, visual, they can attach a video if they wanted of themselves, maybe acting out a page or just talking about it. And then what I learned from this project, I learned from creating this project that it is very time consuming to create a project like this. It is consuming for both teachers and students. Teachers have to create a lot of materials that go along with the project, and students have to spend a lot of time creating this project before publishing it. So like I said, it would obviously take more than one class period because this is a big project. Students have to revise, edit. Teachers obviously have to come up with all the requirements of this book. They have to come up with the model. They have to come up with rubrics and all that. So you really have to think about where you want to include this in a unit or in the school year, because somewhere you may have more time, you're going to want to put this there. You're not going to want to cram it into like 2 periods, because it's going to be very, very hard for students to do if they are on a time constriction. Another thing I learned was that there are a lot of different teaching components that teachers can include in a project such as this. So some of those could be like vocab, research, writing, interviews, videos, maybe like opinions, blogs, all those different things. So students just have more that they could do: an index, a glossary, a cover page, a works cited page, and they can be graded on all these different elements too, right? You don't have to focus in on one thing. So students can do a lot involving the creation of the book. Me personally, I learned how to create an online book. Obviously, I've seen ebooks before and I've seen books like this, but I've never created one before, so I thought it was a great experience. And it was a learning curve, because some things I struggled with, some things I didn't, and some things I saw as beneficial to students and some things I did not. So I will definitely reflect on that and incorporate what I learned into future classes, because I think this project would be great for students to do at some point. And then what I would do differently next time, I would definitely include audio and video in this book. I know it's possible. For the model, I did not, and I think if I was doing this for a class, I actually would, because I think there are students who would want to do an audiobook or include visuals, graphs, drawings, whatever, and I think it would be beneficial for them to see it in my model and to show them how to do it. I think they could benefit from. So I would definitely find a way to incorporate this element into the books. And I would also obviously change the requirements depending on how the students did throughout the project. So if they're struggling with finding definitions, and maybe I would lower that requirement. If they don't have any key vocab terms, maybe I would make a different page instead of vocab, maybe a fun fact page, right? Just something else. And obviously it depends on the grade level too, how you want to adjust this. And also after assessing the project, I would change things, because there are obviously going to be things that some students struggle with, some didn't. But if the majority of the class is struggling with one thing, like say making a personal reflection on what you've done so far, because none of them have done anything, then maybe I might change that to ask somebody what they have done, or interview someone and find out what they do every day to help the earth. So just things like that I would do differently. And also, I think I would encourage, I know throughout my project I didn't do this enough, but I would encourage creativity, originality, and imagination also, because I think this is a great project that students can really show how creative they are, and it needs to be encouraged. Maybe I would reflect it more in the rubric. I think that would help students feel more comfortable just doing what they wanted and putting their all into this. But other than that, I really liked the project, and I will definitely try to incorporate this into a future class. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.